Hello, this is SportHub and welcome to our second video of this World Cup series where we preview Group B, which contains Spain, Portugal, Iran, and Morocco. Let's start off by looking at every team's history in the competition, starting with the La Roja. They've qualified for the tournament 15 times, which is the most out of any team in this group. Apart from the quarterfinals finish and a 4th place finish, they didn't have much success until the late 20th century. At that time, they were very consistent in reaching the knockouts, also reaching the quarters a few times. Then 2010 came along. The Iniesta winning the final, that unforgivable De Jong goal. They followed that by winning the 2012 Euros and one of the greatest eras in national team history. Now into the Portuguese Seleção. The first time they qualified for the tournament was in 1966, where they surprisingly reached the semis before losing to hosts and eventual champions England, who were led under the legendary Bobby Moore. They really didn't get any better, usually exiting in the round of 16, with the exception of the quarterfinal finish in South Africa 2010. After that is Team Melli or Iran. They qualified for the World Cup 4 times, and on all 5 appearances, they failed to get past the first round. This is very surprising today, as they take quite the opposite of this, and there have been even talks of Iran advancing over Portugal. In total, they had a negative 15 goal differential, picking up just only 3 points in 12 matches. And lastly, we have the Atlas Lions from Morocco. Like Iran, they also qualified for the tournament 4 times. However, instead of exiting in the first round every time, they were able to make it to the round of 16 in Mexico 1986. They scored 12 goals and conceded 18 for a final goal differential of negative 6. Which isn't too bad compared to Iran. They could definitely use some more luck in draws though. Now let's look at the squad, starting with Spain. In goal is David De Gea, who has been on incredible form, as the label of the world's best goalkeeper has been reserved to him. They have an El Clasico center-back partnership with Piqué and Sergio Ramos. Their fullback options are amazing though. On the right they can play Azpilicueta or Carvajal, though let's be honest, Azpilicueta would take that spot any day. On the left, they can play Jordi Alba or Marcos Alonso, and it will be a really interesting battle to see who will take that spot for the World Cup. In the 2010 days, they had a golden era of amazing midfielders from left to right. They don't have too many new guys, however, some that pass talent is still there. Busquets, David Silva, Saúl, Asensio, Iniesta, Koke, Isco, and Thiago. Okay, end of video. Spain wins the group. Just kidding. Any trio will be deadly to almost any team. I mean, despite not having many wide players, they could just play 4 midfielders. Now, let's look at the newly looking attack. Maybe they could trust Diego Costa again, or maybe they could look at Aspas, Morata, Rodrigo, or even Villa. Yeah, Villa probably isn't likely. But now I like Rodrigo a lot. Not only has he been in form for Valencia, but he's also been doing well for his country, scoring that clutch goal versus Germany. Spain's 2014 disappointment was a tiny bit because of their lack of options, but that might be different in this tournament. Now into Portugal. In goal is the veteran Rui Patricio, who has a lot of experience in Europe and is really valuable to Sporting Portugal, the club he plays for. To be honest though, he's one of the only guys I like on Portugal. The defense contains many forgotten players who aren't quite well established stars. It does feature Cedric Soares though. He's been making himself bigger of a name for Southampton. The midfield contains João Moutinho, who's gotten a lot of experience from Portugal. It also contains Manchester Bernardo Silva on the right, who to be honest hasn't done too much for City this season. A more impressive name though is Ruben Neves on the left. He's been taking the championship by storm, playing for Wolverhampton. They also have Andre Silva, a Portuguese regular who's pretty good. Now into the attack. Sorry for disappointing me, but it's not all about Ronaldo. They actually have a pretty good trio there with Andre Silva in the middle, somewhat inconsistent Quaresma on the right, and of course Ronaldo on the left. After that is Team Melli. Before I discuss the players, I just want to mention that there have been many Iranians on the rise, so watch out Portugal. They experiment a lot and don't have too many staples in the defense except for 2. The first is center back Jalal Hosseini, who has 114 caps for Iran. The other is Mohammad Reza Khanzadeh, who is a frequent starter. Next is their midfield. They have Saeed Estelahi, who is on loan from Russian giants FC Rostov. He was once deemed the next Pogba, once being a big wonder kid. He is now getting frequent starts for the national side, so it should be a start in the World Cup. After that is Hassan Haj Safi, who can play anywhere on the left and at CDM. He has experience internationally, playing in the 2007 Club World Cup with Sepahan, the 2011 AFC Asian Cup, the 2014 World Cup, and the 2015 AFC Asian Cup. Lastly is Mehdi Tarabi, who plays for Saiba and is starting to play regularly for Iran. Lastly is the attack. It features Alireza Jahan Bakhshi, who is arguably the best player on offense. He can play any position in the attack. He's represented Iran at an early age, and he plays for Dutch side AZ. He starts almost always for both AZ and the national team. After that is Reza Nornia. He sometimes plays and starts for Harenbin. We then have Mehdi Taremi. He is the Persian Gulf Pro League's top scorer before earning a move to Al Gharafa. And lastly is Ali Alapoy, who I actually kinda know. He's taken the Gulf Pro League by storm, now being the top scorer as he recently earned his first cap for Iran. Now we head over to Morocco. I think the defense can compete with the likes of Portugal and even Spain. They have Achraf Hakimi, an amazing youngster who's getting even more and more starts for Real Madrid. That's right. They then have Mehdi Benatia, someone who's known by many people that frequently starts for Juventus. It's kind of funny because Real Madrid and Juve will soon clash off in a few days for the Champions League. In the midfield is another Saints player for the group, Sofiane Boufal. He's a star of course and he's been not bad. Another star is Hakim Ziyech, who starts regularly for Ajax as an attacking midfielder and is the Eredivisie's fourth top scorer. They have even another European experienced midfielder in Yunus Belhanda. I am very surprised with finding these names, and I'm even more surprised that all three didn't even get one cap in the past few years. This is easily the best area of players on the team. Lastly is the attack. At striker is Yassine Bamou, who sometimes starts for Nantes. For Morocco, he only has 3 caps and 1 goal. However, if Morocco decide to play him later, it will be likely that he will start often in the World Cup. They then have Achraf Bencharki. Bencharki can play as a cam or second striker. He scored 5 goals in the 2017 CAF Champions League and was the best player in the tournament, pushing Wydad Casablanca to a title. They signed him an Al Hilal move, becoming the Botolas' highest ever transfer. They also have another choice in fan favorite Aziz Bouhaddouz. So, now that I'm done with the squads, it is time to predict the table. In fourth is Morocco. Yes, they have a squad kind of European talent, however, they didn't quite get a good draw. There are some bad last place teams, but this one would definitely be the best. They just need to keep giving caps to players with potential, and in 4 years they will do much better, maybe even reaching the knockouts. Hakimi's gotten attention around the world, and that's always good. Morocco can get a point though, and I'm guessing they will draw versus Portugal. And third is Iran. Obviously, with Portugal's 3-0 humiliation to the Netherlands, and with some inconsistency in fixtures, and with some players slowing down in form, it's quite understandable why a team like Morocco or Iran could slip into the knockouts. However, I don't think it will happen, but Iran is coached by Carlos Queiroz, who is Portuguese, so wouldn't it be insane for Iran to beat Portugal? And with that being the case, like Morocco though, Iran are producing many great players, like Alipour. But at least they won't be the garbage like they were in 2014. And in second is Portugal. They of course won the Euros, but the Euros of course doesn't hold much value anymore after that tournament. They now do have some more talent, but they still kind of evolve around Ronaldo. Just with Ronaldo and a few other guys, that won't get them far anymore, so they need to produce some great players to keep staying strong. Fun fact, Ronaldo has never scored versus Morocco, so it'll be even more interesting on how the game plays out. I think they finished second though. And lastly, our group winners, Spain. They might not have the legendary midfield and composed team in 2010, but they definitely won't be the 2014 team. Stacked defense, playmaking midfield, and an attack that knows how to finish. For me, them being a top 5 was maybe a few months ago, but after the impressive form and with big players showing up, they are a top 3 favorite now. It's just about how they perform later in the tournament. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our World Cup video. This is SportHub, and I'm out.